Okay, welcome. And so now in this video we're going to do an example where we have given a tangent of an angle is the value. So we know the value of the tangent of alpha is equal to 8/15, and we know that the angle terminates in quadrant 3. Okay, so what they want us to do is they want us to find certain angles or certain trigonometric functions. So given this, the first thing they want us to do is find sine of alpha over 2. So now, great, because now we can use the half angle identity, or the half angle formula, which is given what? It's 1 minus cosine theta, or excuse me, cosine alpha, divided by 2. And now, it's usually plus minus. This is in the third quadrant. So sine is what? It's negative. Okay? Sine is negative in the first quadrant. Okay? So again, we know that alpha is between 180 degrees and 270 degrees. So that means alpha over 2 is going to be between half of those. Okay, so think about this. So we know alpha is in the third quadrant, so alpha is less than 270 and is greater than 180. But now we want alpha over 2. That means alpha over 2 is going to be between half of this, so that's going to be 90, and half of this, which is 135. Okay, so that means this angle is between, from the second quadrant, yeah, it's in the second quadrant, right? So now we're in the second quadrant. Okay? So that means the terminal side of alpha divided by 2 is in quadrant 2. Okay? Now, think about this. Sine, if this is in the second quadrant, then sine is going to be what in the second quadrant? In the third quadrant, it'd be negative. But remember, that's alpha. This will terminate in quadrant 2. So this is going to be positive. So we're going to leave this as positive. But again, never forget, and again, if it helps to keep putting the plus or minus and just keep the plus or minus till the end, or if you just want to take care of it now, just remember you're dealing with half the angle and not the whole angle, so you just got to adjust and just ask yourself, just because alpha terminates in quadrant 3, alpha divided by 2 probably won't, okay, or may not, okay? So in this case, it's in quadrant 2, okay? So we have a positive value, right? Sine is positive in the second quadrant. Okay, so now that we have that, now we just put in our values. So first of all, let's get our triangle ready. Okay, so again, we're using this information, so we're in the third quadrant, right? The only reason I'm working with the third quadrant is because they're giving me information about tangent theta. So I'm going to get my information on the third quadrant. So again, tangent is opposite over adjacent. Okay, so it's going to be negative 8 and negative 15. Okay? Why did I put negative 8, negative 15? Because remember, we're in the third quadrant, and x is negative and y is negative in the fourth quadrant. Okay, and again, if you take the ratio of those two, you get positive 8/15. Okay, so now, oops, alpha. Okay, now, here we're going to need the hypotenuse. Okay? And so we're going to have to use the Pythagorean theorem. Now I don't know the special triangle off the top of my head, but so let's use the Pythagorean theorem. So it's going to be negative 8 squared plus negative 15 squared equals, well, let's call this h squared. Well, this is going to be 64, and 15 squared is 225 equals h. So that's going to be what? It's going to be 289 equals h squared. Now 289, again, you could use your calculator, but 289, we're going to take the square root of both sides, right? And since hypotenuse is always positive, we can drop the plus negative. So h in this case is going to be 17, okay? And 17 squared is 289, okay? Okay, so we got h is 17, so we got it. 17, so now we know all of the values. So now, that means cosine of alpha is what? Negative 15 over 17. So we're going to put that in. Okay, and then this is going to be simplified. We're going to simplify this to 1 plus 15 over 17 divided by 2. Okay. And of course we can simplify this even further, so we can make this 17 over 17. And so 17 plus 15 is 32, so we're going to get 32 over 17 divided by 2, which is going to give us the square root of 32, and again, if you don't see it, we could do 32 over 17 times the reciprocal of the bottom, which is the reciprocal of 2, which is 1/2. And so we're going to double the 17, right? And so that's going to give us the square root of 32 over 34, which reduces, right? What does that reduce to? 16/17. So we get the square root of 16/17, which reduces further because 16 is a perfect square. So we get 4 over the square root of 17. Okay, and of course, we don't want our final answer with a radical in the denominator. So we're just going to multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 17, and so we get 4 root 17 over 17. And that is our final answer. Okay, now, we can do similar things with cosine and tangent, but I'll do that in the next video. I'll do cosine and tangent in the next video. So hold on, don't erase this, and I'll continue on in the next video. Take care.